Danny Green gave his thoughts on the Ringer's NBA show, saying this, quote, most guys, if we start in December, are like, I'm not going to be there. It's not like we have a bunch of young guys and rookies. Bron has been in the finals 10 years out of his 17 years. To have that quick of a restart, I wouldn't expect him to be there. I wouldn't expect to see him for the first month of the season. Okay, Stephen A., so when should the NBA season start?
Ideally, for me, I would prefer after the new year, because to start right before the holidays, after the year that we have had, certainly you can understand where the players are coming from in terms of not wanting to start December 22nd. That is a tough ask, but let me say the flip side to all of this. First of all, Danny Green, let's understand, you did have 4 months off. Let's put that in its proper perspective. There were 4 months that you had off. That's number one. Number two, this isn't just about the NBA. This is about the networks. According to the proposal, according to my sources, Max is going to be a 70, and I'm sure Brian Windhorst and Woj and all of them reported this. It's going to be a 72-game season, not 82 games. It would start December 22nd. And the reason that they're doing it is because we, meaning ESPN, TNT, ABC, we suffered tremendously as a network because of the NFL games. You don't want to go into the NFL season. And the reason why you want to start before Christmas is because you don't want to interfere with the Olympics either. So the combination of the Olympics, the combination of the NFL season is incentive enough to say, okay, let's start this December 22nd. Now, the players, Danny Green, I hope you're listening, you can get what you want. You can start the games in in January. You know what that condition is? Forfeit $600 million. That's what I'm told. If you want to sit up there and start almost a month later, you're costing yourself $600 million. Because with all the other money that's already been lost, with a new collective bargaining agreement certainly to be negotiated, now you're talking about the specter of losing out on an additional $600 million if you want to start after the new year.
Because you're going to lose games.
That's right.
Why, though? Because can't you make them back up after? If you don't do it,
they're saying no because of what I just told you. They don't want to touch in the Olympics, and they don't want to touch it to the NFL preseason.
It's not ideal for the networks.
You're going to lose money.
Here's the thing. Yes. The pandemic hasn't been ideal for anyone.
Right.
So there have to be compromises made all over the place. And you know who's made the biggest compromises? The NBA players. And I know that basketball, in a way, is easier to organize than baseball or football in that way because there aren't so many participants, right? So you can put it in a bubble. And also, they were almost done with their season. So they got to get all the local TV revenue by doing this extra 7 or 8 games, then going in the bubble, crown a champion, the whole thing, 0 positive tests. It's like a great success story. That took compromise everywhere, especially for the players. I understand why NBA players would be like, hold on. We just finished a grueling season where we were separated from our families for months at a time, right? And put in a bubble. The other leagues weren't willing to do that. We did that and crowned the champion and showed everyone how it was done, the whole thing. And now you want us to turn around 6 weeks later and start a new season? It's tough. But you know what? It's the cost of doing business. It still beats digging ditches for a living. And it's the cost of doing business. Stephen A., Molly, we work on Thanksgiving on this show. We work on Christmas. We work on New Year's this year. We're going to work on all those days, right?
I don't know about me, but
that's the cost of doing.
I don't know about me.
Well, listen, Danny Green.
I don't know about me. I'm going to take a New Year's Eve off.
That's the cost of. I get why they wouldn't want to do it, but if in fact that network TV money is on the line, I understand the argument for them to do it, and I would. It's up to them, but it would seem to me that everyone's going to have to compromise.
Let me say this. I'm not going to just talk about the sacrifice the players made. Everybody's made a sacrifice. The networks have made sacrifices. The league has made sacrifices. The commissioner, Chris Paul, the president of the Players Association, Michelle Robbins, executive director of the Players Association, the coaches who weren't even allowed. When the players were allowed to bring family members and stuff like that, the coaches were the last to the party to be granted those perks, per se, which is what Coach Malone in Denver complained about. So there's been sacrifices on everybody's part. At the end of the day, Max, you're absolutely right. Fellas, this is about business. Stop acting like you don't know NBA players. You know good and damn well what's going on here. The league is trying to make sure it doesn't lose even more money. The networks themselves are trying to make sure they don't lose even more money. And you, as a result, which is why you agreed to come back and play after the pandemic, was to ensure that you don't lose even more money. That is what this comes down to.
Would you blame LeBron if he didn't want to play the first month like Danny Green says?
I wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't blame LeBron either, but LeBron, let's understand LeBron's a special circumstance because LeBron is constantly, that burden is constantly thrusted upon his shoulders. He's in his 17th year. He's been to 10 NBA Finals. He doesn't miss games usually. I mean, he does a lot that most players don't do.
You're missing one other piece, though, that we haven't mentioned at all. They're at the forefront of the social justice movement. They're at the forefront now of voter registration in urban communities. They have a lot on their shoulders, these NBA players, beyond what any other sports league has right now. In addition to just being in a bubble in Disney World.
Can I give you my answer to that?
Yeah.
So what? So what? Let me put the camera on me, take away those damn highlights. I'm going to say it again. So what? You can walk and chew gum at the same time. Just because you're going to play basketball games, just because you got to travel to do your job in which you get paid for, does not strip you of the ability to have a conscience, be socially conscientious, and to engage in whatever activities that you need to do. No one should be telling them to shut up and dribble or shut up and play. I'm not doing that. I'm saying do it all. These are tough times, and you have to do more than you are accustomed to doing. You have to do more. The challenges that you're going to face are not going to be ordinary. A matter of fact, they're going to be extraordinary. One of the things we talked about when LeBron James and the Lakers won the championship, we talked about whether we actually had a discussion, Max, as to whether or not this might be his greatest title ever, because the obstacles in which he had to overcome. So many of us, millions upon millions of people, have to face challenges now that they never had to face before. All I'm saying is accept that.
Well,
nothing's going to be
one
easy.
thing about it. They have earned the right to say, you know what? No, we're not going to do that. Even if we're leaving, we want to wait a little bit.
That's fine. No disagreement. But then you have to acknowledge, as a grown-up, that a business has a right to say, we totally respect your decision, but we're not paying you.
Or the same.
You're not paying you the same. We have a right to do that.
So is this December deadline, is this really going to happen, the restart?
I think it is. I think it is. I think it's very, very real that it's going to happen because you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars being lost if it doesn't happen.
이번에 준비한 영상 시청해주셔서 정말 감사하고 앞으로 더 흥미롭고 유익한 NBA 내용으로 돌아오겠습니다. 영상 재밌게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.